During the course of a human lifetime, each person makes choices, and each choice is sparked by an intention. When a person chooses something over something else, she starts two series of events that don't end until her life does. For example, if a person chooses to go down one path, say, to be a musician, and then changes her mind, her original intention to be a musician keeps going in a parallel universe or different dimension. I have a hunch that this is what people mean, whether they know it or not, when they say that there are infinite possibilities. She paused to take a breath. In the Bible, Jesus says, "My Father's house has many rooms." The many rooms to which he is referring are the infinite possibilities a person may intend to pursue. Each intention is lived out in its own multiverse, or dimension, or even room. IA leaned in toward Angela, her eyebrows sympathetic. This is a lot to take in, I know, but just stay with me, and I promise you that all of this is going to change the way you look at the world. Smiling, she waited for Angela to nod before she continued. Typically, when a person dies, she sees all of her life's possibilities, which played out in different places in time, or, like I said, in different dimensions. Finally, she understands the ultimate reality of things, and she is judged by God as he reads the book of lives. After this, God chooses whether or not she has to return to any of her possibilities so her soul can continue to grow there. If she doesn't, God places her in a new container, and she is born anew in the body of a newborn. At that point, her soul forgets all of its other intentions or past lives and starts over. But, behind it all, the soul never loses its connection to the whole, to the rest of its possibilities. This cycle is not the only mode of being, though. When a person attains enlightenment, she has reached the singularity where all of the possibilities, all of the intentions, converge into one. At that point, she understands the whole truth about existence, even while she is still living out her individual intentions. Angela, you have achieved this highest state, enlightenment, and now have access to your other lives. Or should I say your quantum connections. The wisdom you carry is very important, you will need it in order to do your work on the many levels of existence. Your name says it all, it means angel. Angela stared at her grandmother, her eyes open and vulnerable. Once you understand the process, you will be able to move from one possibility to another if a situation ever warrants such an action. When I gave you your wings, what did you hear? Angela snapped herself out of her shock, thought for a moment, and then replied, "Now that you mention it, I think I remember hearing a bell ring." "That is correct," Aya said, an encouraging smile covering her face. A bell rang in a very specific frequency range, 136.1 Hz, to be exact. You'll learn how important that sound is as you move through time. Angela's eyes widened as the words washed over her, but she didn't have the chance to consider their full implication before Aya went on. After all, God said, "Let there be light." He didn't make light, he spoke it. Aya winked. Keep in mind, Angel, that time is not linear, everything happens now. When God says your time is up no matter what intention you are living out. Angela tried to grapple with, and make sense of, her grandmother's words, which she expected to be difficult. But there was a surprising amount of peace about her, and it almost seemed as if she'd known all of this before, as if she was being reminded of it rather than hearing it for the first time. She had been contemplating the idea of time not being linear, after all, and she'd even shared that notion with her family. What Aya was saying just took that notion and went a little bit farther. Time is relative in relation to what actions or intentions you are acting through. Depending on what vibrational level you are on, time moves at a different frequency. The slower the vibration, the slower time moves, relatively, of course. In a high vibrational life, time seems to move quickly, like when you're doing something you really enjoy and time seems to move faster than normal. Time flies when you're having fun, right? The explanation for this seeming quickness of time, in reality, is that you are vibrating at a high frequency. On the opposite end of the spectrum, when you're bored, time seems to move slowly and continues to drag on. At times like these, you are at a low vibrational frequency. However, if you looked at the timelines of each of your intentions on paper, you would see that each one stops at the very same point. This is the point that God decided your life would be over. Sure, you may expect the end points to be different at first, but this is just because time is not linear and is relative to frequency. Upon closer study, you will see that, even if one lived out intention felt longer than another, that's just because the longer feeling one was a low vibrational life. In the grand scheme of things, it ends at the same point as one of your high vibrational lives, even though the high vibrational one surely felt subjectively shorter. Your soul, in each intention, is part of the whole soul, sort of like a hologram that is made of multiple images but produces a single picture. It behaves as if it were a subatomic particle acting out quantum entanglement. Each intention-tied soul is a subset of the whole soul. I'm sure you can see that now. But Angela, here is where it gets really strange. The way humans see reality is incredibly complicated, yet reality is amazingly simple when you apply your own science to it. I call this the power of simplicity. The human mind reinforces the idea that matter is solid even when a person is not observing an actual object, and it reinforces the notion that sounds still exist even when a person isn't hearing one. So, if a tree falls in the forest, people often think it makes a sound because they remember what a tree falling once sounded like, or what it could sound like, even though they don't hear every single tree's fall. This is based on how humans store memories, using cached and hard storage, like a computer does. Einstein had an issue with believing that, if he wasn't observing something, it didn't exist. The way she spoke of the genius sounded offhand and almost familial. Well, I believe he was right to have felt that way. People have learned memories of objects and sounds. And even if someone never has seen a specific object or heard a certain sound, her mind tries to create it on its own, all with the data it has stored on its hard drive. IA paused for a moment and then continued, you know how everything is a wave until you pick it up with your eyes or ears and then convert it into an object or a sound in your brain. Well, that holds true even when you sleep. You draw from your memory to create the objects and sounds, or experiences, to build a dream, or hologram. The dream is real to your body, so glycine and GABA, or gamma-aminobutyric acid, are released to induce sleep paralysis. If those chemicals weren't released, you'd probably kill yourself by acting out your dream. Also, when you have a lucid dream, the data comes from your cached memories. These memories are akin to short-term memories that aren't stored in the hard drive. Because of this, they are malleable. You can control a lucid dream because its data can be manipulated. Anyhow, in a sense, reality is in your head, both when you're awake and when you're asleep. Your mind creates your dream hologram from the data your senses have picked up, either in the past or in the present moment. When you observe a waveform in the ether, your consciousness interacts with the Higgs field to grant that wave, or atomic structure, mass. Thus, the wave becomes solid in your mind, not in the ether. Nothing is solid until you observe it with your senses. Aya shook her head. Your science speaks to this, and yet it makes it seem absolutely perplexing. Then, looking directly at her granddaughter, she added, Angela, you will learn and grow in the field of simplicity as you see its power. Your soul is an incredible thing, in each of its intentions, and no matter where it is, it brings reality into being. That's what souls do. A gentle and warm smile made its way onto Aya's face. I know I've been rambling on for a while, even after I said that you could go with Kenny. But now I am told that you are not going to the White Room after all. You must return to your life, to the one from which you came here, not to the one I depicted on today's sealed page in the Bible. Do not fret, the singularity takes care of everything. Aya gently brushed away a tear that Angela didn't even know had been trailing down her cheek.